I told my neighbor that her son belongs in prison and she's just as bad as him for defending what he did. My neighbor Linda has lived next door for like 8 years. We were never super close, but we'd chat over the fence sometimes about normal stuff like the weather or when trash day was. Her son Ryan was in the police academy training to be a cop. She was always bragging about him, showing me pictures of him in his uniform and talking about how proud she was. He seemed like a normal guy whenever I saw him visiting. Last month, I noticed Linda wasn't outside as much. When I did see her, she looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in weeks. I finally asked if everything was okay, and she just started crying right there in her driveway. She told me Ryan got arrested and was in prison. I asked what happened, and she said it was all a huge misunderstanding. Apparently, during his police training, he had to do some kind of internship at a juvenile detention center. One of the inmates there was a 13-year-old girl. Linda told me the girl took off all her clothes to seduce Ryan, and they ended up having sex. She said someone found out, and now Ryan was doing 25 years in prison with no chance of getting out early. I stood there not knowing what to say because that sounded absolutely horrific. Then Linda said the part that made my blood boil. She said it wasn't Ryan's fault because the girl enticed him, and men can't control themselves when that happens. I felt my whole body tense up. I told her that was complete garbage. Ryan was the adult in that situation. He was supposed to be training to protect people, not abuse children. She got defensive and said I didn't understand how men work. She actually said men can't control themselves when women try to seduce them, even if it's a child. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her that if men can't control themselves around a naked 13-year-old, then they're nothing more than animals, and definitely shouldn't be cops or around kids at all. Linda's face turned red and she said I was being cruel. She kept insisting the girl knew what she was doing and that Ryan was the real victim here because his whole life was ruined. I told her the only victims were that little girl and every other kid Ryan might have hurt if he'd actually become a cop. Then she said something that made me completely lose it. She said girls that age know exactly what they're doing when they try to get attention from men. That's when I told her she was just as sick as her son for blaming a child. I told her Ryan deserved every single year of that prison sentence and more. The reason I got so heated wasn't just about Ryan. When I was 7 years old, my uncle raped me. My own mother told me it was my fault because I was always hanging around him, being too friendly. She used to drop me off at his house and then later said I should have just waited outside if I didn't want it to happen. Like a 7-year-old is supposed to know how to prevent an adult from hurting them. I spent my whole childhood thinking I caused my own abuse because that's what the adults around me said. So when Linda stood there blaming that 13-year-old girl, it brought back every awful memory of being told it was my fault. Linda called me horrible and went back inside crying. I yelled after her that the only horrible people were her and Ryan. Her for defending a child abuser and him for being one. My husband Dave came outside because he heard me yelling. I told him everything and started crying. He hugged me and said he understood why I reacted that way, but maybe I should have just walked away instead of engaging with her. Part of me knows he's right, but another part of me thinks about that 13-year-old girl who's probably being told by people like Linda that it was her fault, and I can't just stay quiet about that.